Namaste, beloveds. This is Mother with Wisdom, aka Valerie Ames, and this is a video that is going to be very, very deep, very, very spiritually complex, and it's going to require you to get ready to take some notes and do your own research if that's where your heart and your spirit leads you. I'm just going to share what was given to me, what I received through this dream. Um, and I haven't written any of this down, so please bear with me as I'm just giving it in the flow as it is. So um, it is what it is, but it's laid out with unconditional love. So receive it that way, without judgment, with only discernment, spiritual discernment. Thank you. This dream was very deep, very layered, very structured, very textured. The spectrums of time and space and color merged and contracted and expanded and contracted and expanded and took me through many multiverses of conscious awareness. I'll put it that way. And I woke up and knew that I needed to do this. So the dream itself, and I might not be giving it to you in the sequences that specific sequences that it happened, but I'm giving it to you in the sequences from which I remember and am given to tell, that I received to give, to transmit. Let me just ground myself and clear myself as I get ready to do this. And once again, just bear with me. It's a process. In the dream, I was with a group of people, and the group of people seemed familiar. And there was a short, young, Asian, native looking man um, that stepped forward to be my king, my consort, my comforter, my protector, my husband, whatever you want to call that relationship that is between divine female and divine male. That is what he came forth to represent himself as. Now, during this time, I was taken through many different neighborhoods and houses, and I had a certain history that had been related to him. And that history was of being raped and finding shelter after being raped and being counseled by what I'm going to say is a council of wise women. Okay. And from this point and from this place, I was able to receive, transmit, transform, and transmute spiritual energies and incarnated spiritual vibrations, frequencies, and spectrums, and able to interpret them and speak them to those around me. And in this setting, I was taken before his family, and his family was questioning me. And they were questioning me as to who I was, what had happened to me, and what my role was now. And like I said, the vision was, the dream was one where it took me through many different openings and closings of space and time. Okay, there were no constraints. So I was able to see many different lifetimes. I was able to see many different occurrences that had happened to me. I was able to gather and glean and harvest old seeds and old information that had been planted in my own spiritual blueprint, makeup, DNA, gene, cosmos, whatever you want to call that sacred space that contains that kind of information. And so here I am being questioned by these family members of his who some are mm, not combative but confrontative, confrontational. There we go. Thank you, Spirit. Confrontational. Um, some who believe and some who do not, who are very skeptical. And this male divine being is right there by my side. He's hugging me. I'm reaching around him and holding his hand so that it's not in plain sight of anyone. And he squeezes my hand and just comforts me and say, "You got this, mama. Let's go. Do your thing. You know, let him know." And so that allowed me to just tap in and release the way I needed to release. And the things that were coming forward within this dream was blowing my mind because I was through the time period of space and the constraints and the portals or whatever you want to call them. Okay, I went back to Mary, Jesus's mother. Okay, I went back to when Gabriel was speaking with her, and I felt all that she felt, all the wonder, all, there was no fear, there was acceptance, and there was spiritual unconditional love, okay, of what she was gifted in doing. And what was shown to me before she received this information from Gabriel was her own quote unquote pedigree as a divine feminine high priestess. Okay? The line that she came from. And it was shown to me that from the womb, she had been chosen. From the womb, she had been chosen. And in the Hebrew tradition of Nazarites and Nazarenes, males and females could be chosen and take these vows as a Nazarite, some from birth and some by choice. Okay? Mary was by birth, just as Samson was by birth. Okay, and he knew this. He knew who he was from birth. He knew his spiritual gifts. He knew his presence. He felt it. He understood it. He communicated with it. And the only thing that separated him was the influx of lust. specifically for Delilah. And that got into his mind and his heart and his thinking, and it messed him up. He surrendered the truth of who he was by his strength was in his hair. And when it was cut off and he was taken prison, he brought his own suffering upon himself. He was blinded. He was made to turn this meal that animals had turned by himself, to use his human strength to do that. And years he suffered and was tormented by those that he had given up his power to. Okay? And in the last phase of his life that he chose, in the last moment that he chose, he came back to his spiritual senses, to his spiritual purpose. And he said, he prayed, please return my strength to me just this one time, so that I may bring glory to your name. And he brought that house down. And he killed more Philistines than he had ever done before. So my point with bringing Samson into this picture is to show you what a Nazarite is, what a Nazarene is, and to understand the spiritual connection as a conduit that is available to them. Read about Samson. Understand that many of the biblical characters and archetypes were born into this Nazarite, Nazarene special priesthood, okay? And that this priesthood, the Nazarite priesthood, was above the Levite priesthood, above what the other ones, okay? This was a special divine vessel, a special divine vessel capable of expanding and contracting the magnetic spiritual field, is what I'm being told, able to receive greater amounts and hold it, and to use that energy, that force, that spiritual connection to bring about spiritual birth and rebirth energy, to expand and contract that energy upon the earth plane. Okay. Let me ground and clear that part of it. Back to Mary. Mary was a high priestess. Okay. She came from this line. Like I said, she was born chosen. She was born a Nazarite. She was born this high priestess. She was born to be able to contain this incarnated, divine, special Christ consciousness that was more powerful than anything that had come through prior. Okay, that was the incarnation of this child, this divine child, who himself, within his own biological manifestation and incarnation as God, as a living, breathing, human God, capable of receiving, knowing, retaining wisdom and discernment, and making choices, okay? Spiritual choices, because the direct link was never distorted. The direct link that children are born with before they are taught you are human, you are a boy, you are this, you are a girl. Before all of that identification, the physical manifestation covers them as a skin, so to speak. That spiritual skin was still intact with Jesus. That spiritual skin is a conscious awareness, spiritual conscious awareness that did not dissipate, that only expanded as he grew, as he matured. And he was put in situations, spiritually guided to situations where he would be subjugated to tests, to expand his own conscious awareness. And through his own suffering as a human being, as a child, as a boy, as a young man, put into the situation of a Jew, a Hebrew Jew, in this land, in Egypt, in all these travels, in watching the way human beings relate to each other, in watching how the spiritual elements and the nature elements influence and take hold of different things and speak through different things. He was educated on these things. His awareness was broadened by master teachers. So when he was ready at the age, I believe, of 30, he was ready to be a master teacher, and he was baptized by John the Baptist, whom he had visited while still in the womb. Both of them were still in the womb of their mothers, both who were high priestesses, Nazarite high priestesses, okay? And they recognized each other in the womb and rejoiced at the recognition. And it was felt by the mothers. They felt the babies moving. They felt the joy. They felt the spirit emanating and radiating through themselves and to each other. That was communication, divine communication between the souls and spirits of all four of them. Getting back to Mary, beloveds, and getting back to this dream, you have to know that Mary was young when she was chosen, okay? She was a virgin. She was unknown to have had sexual relationships. And in her community, being young, being unmarried, and being pregnant was a condemnation of death. That was the judgment, was death, to be stoned. Okay, and she had been promised, she was engaged to this older man, Joseph. And it said, the Bible says that spirit came to Joseph because he didn't know what to do. He didn't know what to do when it came to Mary's situation. Does he denounce her as his forefathers and as the laws say and have her stoned? Or does he marry her and assume that the child is his? Even with all these rumors that are going around in the community and the congregation. Excuse me. And spirit came to him and told him what to do. And this he followed. And he married her. And he listened to spirit and he got her out of where they needed to be, where they needed to move from. Because it had gotten around through the astrologers, through those that followed such spiritual things, prophecies, and everything, because everything is shown to you and carried out in the sky, above as so below. Okay, so a new star was getting ready to be born in the skies. A bright star, one, it was returning. It had not been seen for a very long time. And so the Magi, those that paid attention to such omens and signs, traveled to where mathematically, longitude and latitude, where this star was pointing, because this was where the child would be born. This was where they would find the child. The star would show them. This star, we know it as the Star of Bethlehem, but it has many names. Okay? And some say it's positive and some say it's negative. Either way, it served its purpose as a locating beam in the grid of heaven and on the grid of earth. Okay? As to the location of this divine child, this pinpoint of where all this spiritual energy, the spiritual frequency was focused. Okay? And Jesus was born. And Herod, this is where knowing your history comes in. He knew that this child that was heralded as the Messiah, this male child. Let me turn on a little light. This male child was getting ready to be born, and he didn't know how to stop it. So he issued a law, and he had his soldiers go out and kill all the male children up to a certain age. I think it was 1 or 2. But he had all the soldiers go out into this area, okay? And all the male children who were of a certain age were to be killed, were to be slaughtered, were to be put to the sword, were to die. No exceptions to the rule. This is known as the slaughtering of innocents. Read about it. And this is going to correlate with something else that I was shown in this dream, or that was revealed to me. And I'll bring it into it now so that it's this, the opposite of this, the mirroring of this that is happening now is the legalization. How am I? Let me put this right. Excuse me for legalization. The law that a woman, that a girl cannot have an abortion, even if she is raped, even if it is incestual or whatever, that she must bear this child and bring it into this world. She must allow the incarnation to bear fruit, bear its fruit. And I want you to understand that, again, as they were showing me, taking through time and space, I was shown all the mad kings. I was shown all the rulers that had been born through rape and that had been born through force and that had been born through incest And these were the ones whose spirits were not at peace. There was no peace in the womb. There was no peace in the body biochemistry of their design, because the mother was not at peace. And they marinated in what she was going, in that suffering that she was going through. And that is what formed their bones, their hormones, their cellular patterns, their nervous frequencies. And these were the ones who were capable of great violence. These were the ones who were incapable of compassion. Understand and connect the dots between the two. Understand the child that is born from such a connection. Understand it being the polar opposite of the divine child, the incarnating, that design, that spirit incarnating through a high priestess who has been prepared, who knows what unconditional love is, who is aware of the nature of spirit itself and of herself as a conduit for it, versus that of an ignorant girl who has been raped and deprived of her voice, of her say-so, of her self-knowing, of her self-worth. And understand that not all the children that come from this, I am such a child. My mother was my mother. She was bipolar manic depressive. She had suffered great things. She caused me to suffer great things. But my spirit is my spirit. My spiritual will, my spiritual makeup is what it is. And my choices and my discernment and my wisdom, my intuition and my instincts determine who I become, what I manifest. Let me make it very plain. What I receive, what I transmit, what I transform, and what I transmute. Getting back to Mary. Mary was a Nazarite high priestess, and through her incarnated a child that was able to hold down the frequency of the Christ consciousness. That is a high frequency of light energies that is of the most high existence, period. And you can religiousize it as much as you want. You can call it this, that, and the other. But when you make it plain, that's what it is. And you can add and detract from it as much as you want. But no matter what, it's that. It's that Christ consciousness, okay? That is able to expand inside a incarnated being as an incarnated being. Existence existing as existence in its highest form, in its highest frequency, in its highest spectrum. And understanding that each expression is unique. So there is no need to compete or compare because there is nothing to compare. All is one. There is no superior and inferior. When you understand and understand this, but you also need to understand this is one aspect, but there is other aspects. And these other aspects are lower frequencies. And these other aspects are going to test the highest frequency. Okay? And you have to understand that all is one, but all is not the same. Just as existence is one, but it's male and female. It's up and down. It's left and right. It's inside and outside. All is one. But the directions, the perceptions, the discernments, the degrees are different angles of knowing and testing that knowing. Okay? Getting back to Mary, let me kind of bring this all back to the dream and back to the point. Beloved, I've given you the outlines of everything, but it goes back to um, the dream is about the rebirth of the golden age of the Christ consciousness. The dream, the young man holding my hand and encouraging me, the grilling and the questioning that I'm going through. Some of the questions were about what had happened to me. And one of the things that kept coming up was a root canal that happened to me when I was in a certain house after I had been raped. And I cannot tell you what this means at this moment. All I know is it's very symbolic. It's very important. The root canal process itself, what it symbolizes physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, physically, I have yet to delve into that to receive that revelation. But the root canal just kept coming up throughout the dream. And I kept being questioned by it. And all I could do was just say, I made it through. I made it through. I made it through that portion. I don't know. That was like a hidden blind spot that's there in the dream that I can't see just yet, that hasn't revealed itself to me just yet. But like I said, the fact that it was a root canal, the fact that in the dream it happened in a house that I was sent to after being raped, has its own meaning to it, and it'll unfold. But getting back to this dream and its unfoldment, a lot of it had to do with rebirthing the Christ consciousness from an understanding and an understanding of the high priestess, the divine feminine, and what her role is cosmically in this particular time period, 2022. Looking at the things that are taking place politically, religiously, spiritually, through the forces of nature, with the storms, with the earth changes, and with the people themselves having to choose sides. spiritual, physical, religious, political sides. And stepping back and observing it from a place of spiritual observance and understanding that I've been here before. Many times have I observed this culmination and understanding that this is what is called the second coming. This is what is called the end of these times. These times have to come to an end. Something else has to be born from it. So there's great labor and labor pains that are occurring. There is hemorrhaging, there is bleeding, there's all kinds of separations and contractions happening. And you have to be aware of it. And you have to be aware of why. And that why is the calm and the peace and the unconditional love that is felt after the storm has passed and you have survived. That is the realization of the Christ consciousness. To witness and bear witness everything. And to not judge it, but discern what has happened, what is the natural process of spiritual conscious expansion taking place. That is awareness within yourself. And this is what is getting ready to happen. And how this is getting ready to happen, I was shown and I was given, just like we witnessed that first cosmic child, that first Christ consciousness being born, and listening to this being saying, I will be back, and when I return, there will be among you those that do more than what I did. This man walked on water. This man raised the dead. This man healed the sick. This man fed many with what? Fish and bread. People didn't come bringing him gifts and food and this and that. He gave it to them because he thought and felt enough compassion. Y'all came all this way to hear me, to hear what I said because you hungered and you thirsted for this spiritual truth. Let me feed you. I feel your hunger pains. I feel your weakness in your body. And he prayed and he said, cast the nets. And he fed these beings. We are here to feed those who are hungry, who are thirsting for spiritual truths, for spiritual wisdom, for spiritual knowledge, for unconditional love, those who are seeking and searching and wanting to know. There are many upon this earth plane, such as myself, who are capable of receiving, transforming, transmitting, and transmuting spiritual messages. And we share them. Some want to take on as a collective and give all kind of names to the collectives: light workers, light bearers, this, that, and the other. It is what it is. And you'll be able to know the true ones by the unconditional love that they have amongst themselves. And when I say amongst themselves, that's the relationship they have with themselves. Okay? That means they're not trying to take advantage of no one else. They're not lying to someone else. They're not trying to trick someone else. They're very aware of their own human flaws, but they're also very aware of their spiritual conscious awareness, and that they're in a time of that knowing, that being expanding. They're sensitive to it. They're aware of it. They're observing it. They're able to see it. And the rest that's happening in this world, that is contrast. That is frequencies, spectrums, and angles and degrees that are necessary to tune in and align themselves with their own spiritual frequency. And when they make the wrong choice, and now I'm going to say wrong choice, in the fact that's like tuning a radio the wrong way and getting the white noise, and you suffer. Ooh, that hurt my ears. That's the same thing it is with us. We make choices. We will make choices. We will make decisions that will bring that momentary suffering, that will bring that momentary uncomfortableness, so that we can realign and readjust to get that clearer spiritual frequency going. Back to the dream and these different women, and through the time that's coming, this Aquarian age, this time period is very fluid. Okay? It's not two fish, one swimming one way and one swimming the other way, trying to go upstream or downstream, can't make up their mind. It's not about that anymore. Okay? This is about filling with conscious awareness the waters. Be like water, Bruce Lee said. Don't take on any form. Be fluid enough to whatever you're poured into, you're good. Whatever shape, form, fashion, you're good. You're still water. Water doesn't become the cup. Water doesn't become the bowl. Water doesn't become the pot. Water is still water. Even when that water is observed, when you water absorbed, when you water a plant, that water is still water within that plant. In the liquid of the plant, it is still water. In your body, it is still H2O. It is still water and oxygen within your body. Be like water. Be fluid. Be consciously aware. Be sensitive. But stay spiritually aware and able to expand and increase and decrease that knowing, that wisdom. Because the more you expand, some things will no longer serve you, and you must be willing to let them go. Empty yourself. Back to the um, expansion of the Christ consciousness. We were able to witness throughout history the birth of this one son in many different cosmologies, in many different cultures, in many different ages, in many different regions, in many different realms. This one son existed, was born and reborn with the same consciousness, and it was only one born at a time. But now, we are in a time where that number will expand itself because the conscious awareness is able to be held by more than one at a time. Which means, beloveds, there will be many high priestesses who will be able to give birth to the Christ consciousness. There will be many children born who will be able, boy and girl, male and female, who will be able to harness, radiate, receive, transmit, transform, and transmute with using the laser frequency of the master building techniques of the Christ conscious awareness, compassion, unconditional love, divine wisdom, divine discernment, beyond judgment of physical. It's not about the physical, it's about the metaphysical. It's about the unseen, being married with the seen. There will be an awakening of what I have shared with you before as cosmic midwives. And I have said to you several times that I am a cosmic midwife. I support the rebirthing of the Christ consciousness. That is my purpose. That is my mission. That is what I know and I have known even before I could put it into words. That is what I was doing as a child before I spoke words. That is what I was doing in my mother's womb, being hypervigilant to everything that was going on. Just like Jesus receiving counsel, receiving instruction from master teachers from every situation, every sound, every sense, every situation that was taking place, not only just within his own physical dynamics, but the world itself, this realm itself within a larger realm of universe, within a larger realm of galaxy. This Christ consciousness penetrates and circulates through all of that, through the magnetic fields, seen and unseen, realized and unrealized. It's been captured as halos. Some see auras. Some just feel the presence itself. Some just say, oh, that's an old soul. It has been known. It is known. And it is also known that just as this exists, there are those who fear its existence. There are those who do not want its existence known. And you have these ones in places of power and principalities that are under influence, that regulate laws and issue and create chaos and havoc in order to try to reroute the nervous wires, to reroute the suffering or the amount of suffering or the addiction to the sufferings instead of the compassion, instead of the unconditional love. And so you as a being, as a spiritual being incarnated, you have to be able to see these things. You have to be able to perceive them, but not only perceive them, you have to be able to discern them. And amongst them and between them, through them, because of them, and for them, you have to be able to reason with your spiritual awareness. And not just take this is the way it is what it is, it is what it is, it is what it is. What is it? Everything is spiritual. But what is it? Everything that's spiritual has different messages. What's the message? What's the lesson? What's the power? What's the gift? What's the reward? What's the curse? What is it? Yes, it is what it is, but what is it? If you don't know what it is, then you better get to knowing what it is. Don't just say, well, it is what it is. What is it? You need to pass that knowledge on to the next 7 generations. Baby, this is what it is. And it's going to present itself like this, but it is what it is. So when you see this, know what it is. And teach others what it is. And know that there are going to be those that are going to want to confuse what it is. And they're going to write, nah, that ain't it. It's like this and that's and like that. And it's like this and okay? Because that serves them. That serves their fear. That serves their greed. It serves their disconnect. But you have to serve your purpose. You have to root yourself. You have to ground yourself. You have to walk through your own fires. You have to purify your own thoughts. You have to give light to your own shadows. You have to feed and nourish that which is lacking in you, that which is scared and curled up into a fetal ball inside of you because this world hurts it. You have to pick that baby up and wipe it off and love it and say, it's okay, baby. I am your mother, and it is what it is. And as a mother, I'm going to love you unconditionally. And I'm going to nourish you, and I'm going to look after you, and I'm going to feed you. And I'm going to understand and understand why you act the way you act. And I'm not going to judge you for it. And I'm not going to correct you. I'm going to let you self-correct through your own process so that you expand your own conscious awareness beyond the point where someone can tell you, you are this and you are that. You are less than. You ain't nobody. You shouldn't even exist. You should have died long ago. And you take that in and it hurts your heart. And you believe that. And you become a slave to that thinking. And you become less and less within yourself. And you get mad at it all. And you get resentment. And you grow hatred. Nah. When you know who you are, can't nobody tell you what you are not. They can't make sense. Well, you this and you. Nah, I know I am that I am, and that is of the highest spiritual frequency, baby. And you can't take that away from me. Not with your words, not with your deeds, not with your thoughts, not with your logic, not with your laws, not with your ways, not with your means. I am that I am. And I'm going to let you know. Watch me. Watch me. Watch me expand my spiritual conscious awareness and watch it radiate from me and through me to others like me. Because I am not alone. I am all one, baby. In everything from the sunrise to the sunset, I am all. And I will always be so. Because I have no beginning and I have no ending. So birth, death, and rebirth are seasons and cycles of what that I am. And I do not say this with anger. I say this with passion. I say this with joy. I say this with bliss. I say this through the eyes and tears and blood and sweat of my ancestors. Okay? Because I am that. And that is what is speaking to you, sitting here in this form, with this voice and this mouth and this face and this color and this sex, these breasts, okay? These cheekbones and these eyes and these ears and this mouth. And I take none of it for granted. I am grateful. I am grateful. I am grateful for the strength and courage to exist as existence itself. Because, baby, it ain't easy on this earth plane. It ain't easy. And the example of what that Christ consciousness had to go through, the passion of that Christ consciousness, there'll be many that'll sit up here and say, oh, you prideful, you're arrogant, you're this, you're that. That means you don't know how to tap into that passion of the Christ consciousness. That means you don't know how to hold it. Your cup is this little, okay? And mine is ocean wide. And I don't expect you or yours to understand that, because you have to grow into it, which means you have to let go of your fears to get to this. It means you have to be okay with the unknown. You have to be okay with the unknown, knowing that no matter what storm comes, rolls in, what cataclysmic whatever is coming or has been, you're gonna exist. Existence exists, and it will never stop. And that is the gift. That is the inheritance that awards and rewards your sovereignty. And from that state of knowing, you are to rule from your own kingdom, your own manifestations, your own miracles, your own spiritual might with discernment, compassion, and unconditional love, grace and mercy, hope and charity brings abundance, not lack. And that is going to be it for this video, beloveds. And I thank you so much. I did want to, this will be the portion of um, just pulling a couple of cards from the, um, and I'm led to pull um, three. I pull three from this Esther Hicks deck of the Vortex. Okay, I have my three. I will give them in the order that they were pulled. This is the first one. It is number 19. 1 and 9 is 10, which is 1. My relationships will change when my vibration changes. Oh, that's deep. And there are 4 faces on here. You see 3. Oh my God. You just look at it and see for yourself. I will not tell you what to see. See for yourself. See the colors. See the shape. See where the eyes are. See where the eye is looking. See the vibrations. See what's in the hand, the orb. See the sizes of the faces. See the positions of the face. And again, this card, number 19. My relationships will change when my vibration changes. You are living in the time when fewer people will attempt the impossible task of pushing the unwanted far enough away that they will be left with only that which is wanted. It is the time when more people will come to the realization that what they have been seeking is not a change in the behavior of others or in the world outside of them over which they have no control, but instead an understanding of their own vibrational relationship with Source over which they have complete control. Ta-da, ta-da, ta-da. I'm not going to say nothing. I'm going to leave it. Second card. 18. 1 and 8 is 9. Relationships I don't want. Clarify those I do want. Beloveds, beloveds, beloveds. That is the purpose. Why do I have to go through this? Why do I have to suffer? Relationships I don't want, clarify those I do want. The deepest relationship you can have is with yourself. When you bring another into it, it's showing you what in yourself you're defining yourself. You're expanding your own conscious awareness with the relationship with yourself. Relationships I don't want, clarify those I do want. Again, beloveds, pay attention to this card. Look at the head, the top of the head, the dome. Look at the different sides of the faces. Look at the white bird and the black bird. Look at the colors. Look at the, what is that? Can I call this? The directions of the birds. The black one is from down to up. The white one is from up down. So there's, again, what you want versus what you don't want. And there are many sides to this, as you can see. There are many layers, many dimensions in what you want and what you don't. Many frequencies. Look at the colors. Okay? But you weigh them evenly. And that blackness in the whole head shows what is observing all of this. There's one you that is observing what you want and what you don't want. And that is who you truly are. You're not this being with form. You're this field out here, this black field of all potential and possibilities. Okay. Relationships I don't want, clarify those I do want. Whenever you know what you do not want, you always know more clearly what you do want. So, in any poignant moment of awareness of another person's undesirable situation, so when you need to judge or prejudge or be prejudiced on what's going on in somebody else's situation, give your undivided attention to the idea of improvement that has hatched from your interaction observation. So look at it. What needs to be improved from that situation that you just observed? And as you learn to do that, not only will you be of increasing value to others, but you will see how your relationship with others add immeasurably to your own becoming. Meaning, as you're able to look and discern and observe outside of yourself, that helps you internally. And then you're receiving, you're transmitting, you're transmuting, you're transforming. And then you're sharing that. Third and last card, number 57, which is a 12, which is a 3. My true success is measured by my alignment. Wow. Wow, 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 wow. 6 hearts, 3 on each. The number 12, 3. I'm looking at the rings of the scale itself. I'm looking at the line going across here, divided into 2 by this one pole, and the 2 measuring things. There's a lot here, beloveds, in this card. 57, which is 12, which is 3. And look at the hand that's holding it up in the palm, right above the palm, actually. My true success is measured by my alignment. Hmm. And again, it's not it's I'm being shown that it's not aligned by being in the palm of the hand. It's farther up and it's being balanced. So there's a meaning to that. Alignment with source, being inside your vortex of creation, becoming one with the true expanded version of you, is the ultimate selfishness. And yes, in that state of alignment, all good things must come to you. Every rocket of desire that you have launched will be fulfilled. True success is not the attainment of things, the achievement of tasks, or the achievement of financial abundance. True success is the coming into alignment with you. Yes, selfishly aligning with your desires, your clarity, your confidence, your knowledge, your love with yourself. How powerful is that, beloveds? How powerful is that to end this video upon? About the dream, the rebirth of the golden age of the Christ consciousness. Okay? The alignment with yourself. The alignment with yourself. And yes, selfishly aligning with your desires, your clarity, your confidence, your knowledge, your love with yourself. Knowing that every rocket of desire that you have launched will be fulfilled. So every seed that you have sowed is you're going to reap the harvest and benefit from the fruit. May not be in the moment, maybe 5, 10, 15 years from now. That's what this dream has shown me. That's what the journey of looking at what happened to Mary, looking what happened to I keep wanting to say Solomon, so I'll say Solomon. But Samson, there we go. Solomon and Samson. There is a connection and alignment between those two divine masculine energies in the context of spiritual self-recognition, okay, that needs to be researched and looked upon. And just looking at the two, there's so many. What stands out the most to me is their relationship with the divine feminine. Okay. There was a lust instead of a love. There was a lust instead of unconditional love. There is a certain spirit or way of looking, observing, the wanting what you don't want sort of aspect, and bringing that to you. That's the rocket. That's that phallus bringing you what you don't want versus what you do want. And it takes you loving yourself enough to know the difference between the two. And having enough situations where not only your own, but of others, where you can observe that and begin to love yourself by investing in that within yourself and drawing that to you. And understanding that to get the nourishment and everything you want, you get that from what is like you and from what understands you. That's what this divine masculine within my dream represented. He represented someone with a an open conscious awareness. Okay? He accepted, even if he didn't realize or understand, he accepted. And there was no judgment or prejudgment. And there was nothing his family could say. Or there were no questions that he was just going to let me go and let me go through this alone. No, he sat right there with me. We were holding hands. We had each other. So there's a lot in this dream, beloveds. There's a lot. And like I said, I just had to present it and give it and share it. And I'm sure there's going to be much more that's coming from it. And I also share with you to pay attention to my Facebook page, Valerie Ames. I'm restricted right now, but if you just go there, you'll see what is being shared. And I share what I'm spiritually led to share. And birthing and rebirthing and Mary right now, as well as Sophia of Sheba, has been coming up a lot as the bride, no doubt, divergent. The bride, no doubt, divergent is that high priestess Mary, that born Nazarite priestess, and her ability to be fertile enough to produce from the the highest spiritual conscious awareness, to express from that realm, from that frequency, from that spectrum, from that energy source. So be aware. And there will be many that will latch on to these transmissions and they will claim them as their own. And none of that matters. What matters is that you receive that which can expand your conscious awareness, that you do the research, that you receive the revelations that are specifically designed for you through these communications. And I'm going to leave it there, beloveds. And you're going to have to use your discernment as to who is providing you with this information. Okay? Are they providing the information through unconditional love? Or are they looking to benefit through the exploitation of the message? And I say this because there are many who consider themselves leaders within what they call conscious communities, cults, organizations, congregations of beings who are seeking, who are hungry, and who are thirsty for spiritual truths. And they use the message as bait to draw you in. But look around you, beloved. Use your eyes and your intuitions and your instincts. If they are not operating out of unconditional love, walk away. Walk away. Run away. Get out of her. That's Babylon. And she's a lying asshole, okay? And she's coming down. She's being taken down. She is the exact opposite of the divine priestess, of she who can hold the pure energy and deliver the pure message. Babylon gives out the tainted message. She sells it as she sells herself. And she puts on all these airs. It's all ego. Learn to identify ego versus spirit. That's part of your trials and tribulations. That's part of your lessons. That's part of your path. This alignment that these three cards spoke of, this is what you're doing. This is what it's all about. And it's all about getting the frequency high enough so that more and more beings are able to incarnate with the Christ consciousness and anchor that frequency upon the planet. More than just one in a lifetime. Okay? I believe it's going to get up to 144,000 in a lifetime at once. But beloveds, we've got a ways to go. But we're on our way with the information in form, in the form of conscious awareness expanding itself as existence, in existence. All right, beloveds, that's going to do it. Namaste. I love you, and I am very grateful that I was able to share this with you. And if you have questions, please feel free to put them out there on my Facebook page. I will do the best that I can, or I'll take that back, not on my Facebook page. Put them in the comments area of this video, okay? And if there's something that you want to know or have me inquire spirit about, put it on this page, put it on this video in the comments, and I will read them, and I will consider them, and I will pray with them, and I'll take them to spirit for you, and I'll come back with what I receive. So this is the path forward for me. Namaste, beloved.